Around the Valley's on.
Around the Valley's on!
Around the Valley's on! Oh my God!
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's edition of Around the Valley. This week we have a very interesting show planned for you because we don't have a plan at all. So I'm going to introduce my two guests right now. We have a former guest in Mr. Justin Morton. He's debated some topics, and I think you were the People's Champ, weren't you?
Of course I was.
Yeah, he was the People's Champ. And then we have Slick Rick Bennett over here coming to you live, or not live, but you know, something along the lines.
Close enough.
Good to have you boys on the show. I think the first topic we want to get into is the final, since the last airing of this show, the Final Four has been set. I want to get your thoughts, either one of you guys, on your brackets, if you had any of these teams in the Final Four, especially Wichita State, because I know I had them. And yeah, take it away, one of the two of you.
Well, go ahead.
No, for you first.
Well, one of the things, I'm pretty sure Wichita State's a 12 seed, right?
9 seed.
Nine
9
seed.
seed, yep.
All right, so I kind of had a mistake with that, but because typically you got to pick a 12 and a 5 for an upset, and that actually happened with Wisconsin losing
We had 3 12
to Southern Miss.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, it's just kind of unfortunate now. Every year, everyone's like, "Oh, you got to pick a 12 over a 5." You know, it's really in this day and age, anybody can beat anybody.
Parity in college basketball.
I had Wichita State in my Sweet 16, but before that, my bracket was. As far as that goes, the bracket was destroyed. So.
What about you?
I actually did pretty well.
Yeah?
I almost had an intact Final Four.
Really?
I lost Indiana, obviously,
Yeah.
to Syracuse, but I don't mind that. I like Syracuse as a team.
Yeah?
I think they're good. I think they got a tight defensive. They're just strong.
They're so long this year. I mean, Jim Boeheim obviously does the zone every year, but the length that they have, and then the aggressiveness on the two wing players, I can't think of their names off the top of my head right now, but they create the weirdest zone I think I've ever seen. It's supposed to be a 2-3 is what the old-time Syracuse zone is. But these guys are playing so high up on the wings that you can barely swing the ball out and around. It's unbelievable. So that's definitely why. But what about, who else did you have in the Final Four?
I had Indiana. I had Louisville.
Yep.
Michigan,
Yep.
believe it or not. Even though I said I didn't think they were going to make it as far. Kind of reevaluated the situation. You know, they can make it rain.
Yeah, they can. Trey Burke, baby.
Make it rain.
Go Blue.
Yeah.
So
Wichita State definitely did not have them.
No. It's pretty amazing and shocking that they made a Final Four. I mean, they are a terrific basketball team. Like a good buddy of mine said, the only reason that they weren't a higher seed was because of the name on the jersey.
Shockers.
I know, right? How ironic and fitting. But they are a terrific basketball team. Well coached. I want to actually just go, what did you guys think about Kevin Ware's injury?
Actually,
That was disturbing.
I feel like I'm the only one that hasn't seen it. I choose not to. You know, I didn't see when, what's the guy from South Carolina, Marcus Lattimore?
Yeah.
When that happened to him, I actually chose to go and seek that out, but that would definitely, told myself that was the last time. You know, I saw Willis McGahee live. That was gross.
That was gross.
You know, and yeah, to see Lattimore like that, and then, you know, just going on Twitter and Facebook, everyone's like, oh, R.I.P. Kevin Ware's leg and stuff like that. It's like, it's, you know, everyone's saying, you know, everyone always said, you know, that Joe Theismann one was the worst of all time, but they say that this one was worse because at least Joe Theismann had the sock.
Right,
know.
you couldn't see.
You couldn't see the bone because at least the sock was in the way. I mean, apparently, like I said, I haven't seen it, but apparently you can see the white of this kid's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was sticking out.
I'm all set with
Chinese
that.
spare rib.
You know.
What did you think?
Ugh.
I was sitting around with my whole family, just watching it. You know, just having a nice like Easter dessert, sitting around watching some basketball, and all of a sudden, just the same reaction from everybody in the room.
It's not good.
It was bad.
It was unbelievable. I was actually in the
Had to
car.
watch it again though.
Oh, yeah, you have to. I watched it in slow motion just to see how it happened.
It was just a freak accident.
Oh, my God.
How did it actually go down?
So he went. There was a swing pass to the wing for a three-pointer. He was down on the
the
second
low block.
peg, not a low block, and came out to challenge the three. He jumps up in the air pretty high, carries his body right to where the Louisville sideline was. That was the other thing. Like, the poor kids from Louisville had to watch this thing happen.
That's terrible.
And he landed, and it looked like his foot and his shoe just stuck into the ground, and his
he just
momentum
went the
kind of
rest
carried.
of the way.
And but like really, it just snapped.
Yeah.
And it was
That's really too bad.
He's done it a million one time.
You know.
The million in a second just was too much.
It was. I don't think I've ever seen an injury in sports like that ever. And I've seen Willis McGahee live. I saw Lattimore live. I've seen the one with Joe Theismann. That was the most disturbing. I think Ruben Sierra had one where he stepped on the back of first base and this leg like came up over this way. But oh my God, that was disturbing. I have a strong stomach, and that was disturbing.
Yeah.
He's back in Hotland already, though.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Luckily, the team was able to rally, come together, and pull a win. They said it was
dominating
for him.
win against Duke.
Yeah.
Dominating win against
They
Duke.
came through.
All right, so you got winning it all.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to go Cuse.
Cuse.
Louisville, 100%. They got so much riding with him. Kevin Ware, he's a big part of them getting to where they were. They got a lot riding.
That's a good point. I'm going Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan through and through. Have been.
Yep.
Big Blue, baby.
You didn't have to say it, dude.
No, you did not. Absolutely not. Trey Burke, I'm following him to the end. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go to, we have one of the best traditions in all of sports this week, starting today. This is being taped on Thursday. And, I'm sorry, not today, next week. I'm sorry. But the Masters is coming on. And it's one of my personal favorite sporting events of the year. I want to get your thoughts on just the Masters in general, if you got Tig winning it, or
Tig won.
Yeah.
I hope so. Him, Phil would be a great matchup on Sunday.
What about Rory?
Rory's cool.
he's cool.
Gotta respect your elders, Tiger, of course, he's #1 in golf right now. So that'd be great for the sport, Good call on him and Lindsey Vonn.
Oh yeah.
They're out.
Yeah.
They're having fun.
The only time I ever watch golf is the second, third week in April.
Yep.
The Masters. That's
Masters.
it. Me and a guy I work with. That's what we do. Me and Mike.
Mikey.
And
Uncle Mike.
Yep. And that's the only time I watch it. Tiger's got a lot going for him. I feel like his head is right. He's going in the right direction. He just needs one of these. He needs to make this happen.
What did you guys think of the? There was a meme, kind of an ad for Nike on Facebook that said it was Tiger with like the fist pump. Said winning takes care of everything, or something along those lines. And it's been pretty polarizing because that's always what he said, is that winning will take care of everything. And maybe in the sporting world it does, but obviously with the personal scandal, did you guys take that negatively or positively, or?
You take that for what it is. If somebody turns around and says that, winning, you hear it all the time in sports radio, on the news, and, sports media and stuff like that. You say, oh yeah, winning does take care of everything. It's not something new. It's not something, it's just that it has Tiger's name next to it, and obviously he has that stigma of all of the things that he went through. And I just kind of feel like you'd be a hypocrite to, not say that winning doesn't take care of everything. Look at Ray Lewis. Look at so many
That's
other
a great
athletes.
Point.
Tiger Woods. He had his extramarital affair or whatever. You know what? Nobody's dead from that.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Winning does take care of everything. Ask Ray Lewis. Ask Barry Bonds. Ask any of these guys. Winning takes care of everything. It kind of makes, especially the fans of that team, to really, I don't know.
Yeah, it really is. It's the fan base that will make or break your popularity. I don't know where I stand on this one because obviously I was having this debate with a friend of mine the other night. Why do people in general hold athletes accountable for things that they do outside of the lines of their sport? Because realistically, the only thing that we know about Tiger Woods ever, the only thing that we've ever known about Tiger Woods was that he was great at golf. All the stuff before his premarital affair, how he was, he was the golden boy. He was untouchable. All of that type of stuff is all based on ad campaigns from Nike, from Gillette, from whoever else that he was sponsoring at the time or being sponsored by. They created an image. We didn't know the man. We never have known the man.
No.
It's like Tom Brady. Does Tom Brady owe me anything outside of the 50 yards in between the sidelines? I don't. Personally, I say no. I know that a lot of other people say, well, I mean, they get paid these millions of dollars. At some level, they kind of have to be role models. But But the when he take care of everything, that type of thing, that type of ad campaign, I think that was a little bit of a slap in the face because you do have to understand that there are two sides to the argument. There are going to be people who say that no, it does not take care of everything. You were so high in society, and now you blew up a sacred part of marriage, whatever. Even though 52% of people get divorced.
Yeah.
But I think it was a pretty stupid ad campaign. I don't disagree with it because I don't really care if he had extramarital affairs. It just doesn't.
He should have known better. He's been that big for how long? You should know that every step you take is going to be recorded some way or another by somebody.
Keep going.
And it's just you can't go out and not expect somebody to see you doing something stupid that you shouldn't be doing in the eyes of the public if you're that high up.
Right.
It's his own personal fault. It's his personal business.
But do you think, if you're Tiger Woods, do you endorse that meme? Or what? I think it was a meme.
Yeah.
It was, you
Yeah.
do?
Anything. You endorse if he's smart, he would endorse anything.
I don't know, man, because
it's
the
good.
way
he already lost all his endorsements. You got to, pick him back up somehow.
That's true, but I'm just, for Nike to go out and blatantly throw it in the face is that, we all forget about this now. Well, there's a lot of people that don't forget about it.
It's not the first time an athlete's done it. It's not the last time.
No, that's very true.
That's what Nike does, and they do it every year. They do the same thing around the same time every year. I remember a few years ago they had that one. It was a commercial, and it was like his father's voice. And
Oh,
it was
that's
just
right,
him,
right.
Nike's just going for it because they know the Masters are coming up, and they're ready. They're just
Make a
jumping on that
splash.
stuff.
Make a
Yeah.
splash, the
And
advertising.
Tiger Woods is all for it, no matter what he says.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
He's all
That's the
for
thing.
it.
Tiger Woods is going to do, he is all for anything.
Yeah.
It's,
Just anything, especially to get his name out of the mud.
yeah.
But
Okay, so let's get to the actual Masters itself. Tiger of the field. Go.
Tiger. Got to take
Tiger 100%.
I've picked Tiger the last 2 years and just been embarrassed.
His mind is right.
It is, and
in
that's
the
all
right
because
spot.
of Lindsey Vonn. I completely say Lindsey Vonn is the best thing that has ever happened to Tiger Woods.
He's
his
also
first wife.
also going out to other golfers, trading tips with each other.
Yeah,
reaching
the
out,
Steve Stricker thing.
Yeah.
I guess I go with Tiger. I just can't wait for the Masters. I just love watching the scenery at Augusta, the
Yep.
tradition. There's a tradition unlike any other. You get a little Jim Nance's voice coming over there. But yeah, I can't wait for the freaking Masters. And it starts on my birthday, so happy birthday to me.
Yeah,
Around
happy
the
birthday,
Valley
Woo.
Lovers. Everybody say happy? No.
And Pete.
That's awful.
Hi,
and
Pete.
Pete. Hi, Pete. Pete doesn't watch the show.
Now we'll make him watch this one.
All right, so let's see what other big news we had in sports. Oh, well, there was one topic I wanted to talk about. Mark Cuban came out. Mark Cuban was the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he came out and said that he would give Baylor center Brittany Griner, obviously a women's basketball player, who stands at 6'8" and is far and away the best women's college basketball player. He said that he would give her a tryout for the Dallas Mavericks. Want to get your thoughts on this?
Publicity stunt.
Think so?
She's never going to make it. She never would. Mark Cuban would do it because he's like the man. He's got everything you could ever want. He's the man. He's going to do it. But it's definitely just a publicity stunt. People will come in. He'll get all the reporters for a day. People won't be talking about LeBron and the Heat or the Lakers getting all the calls just to make a playoff run. Playoffs, just got a Celtic spot. Clinched it last night.
They did. Jeff Green's 34. We'll talk about him in a second.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal.
I like him.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on.
Bottom line, Brittany Griner, no chance to play in the NBA. Like my colleague said, no chance. It's just a publicity stunt. Mark Cuban knows. He's a very smart man. He knows exactly what he's doing. You don't even have to be a basketball fan to, they always have these comparisons like, could this, there was Lisa Leslie, the same thing came up when she was coming through. She, she was really the first one to dunk,
Yeah, she was. She was the first
She
one
was
to
the first woman to dunk. Yeah. And they all, those USC teams back with Reggie Bush, could they beat an NFL team back when, the Lions were terrible? Like,
Yeah.
No way, no chance, no how. Okay. Like, even the worst player on a 53-man roster on an NFL team or the 13th guy on an NBA team is still the best basketball player that you would probably see in person short of going to an NBA game.
I could not agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. They're all pros. I mean,
Yes, they're getting
Scalabrine
paid.
challenged the whole city of Boston.
Yeah.
And ripped them all apart.
Yeah.
Destroyed them.
I mean, he's an NBA. There's, 13, 12 guys on an NBA
Yeah.
roster
Times 30.
32 teams. So that's what.
300 and 400 probably 400 guys that are bouncing up and down between the D League and the NBA.
In all of America. So they are
Yep.
pros.
Yeah.
I don't think Brittany Griner would get as run over as people think. I don't think she would make the team. But I mean, okay, she is 6'8", 230 pounds.
She punched that girl in the face a couple years ago. She's tough.
She's a tough girl.
Very tough.
I mean, she's about as good as we're probably going to see in the next 2 or 3 years of a women's college basketball player. She scored 3,000 points in her career. Obviously, the physicality in an NBA and a men's collegiate game is more than in a women's game. I don't think I'm not even going to touch the men versus women issue. I think that more of that has to do a lot with the way the styles of the game are being played. There's no dunking there's not no dunking, but there's very rare dunking.
Yeah.
So you have to block the lane out like you do in a men's game. Mm-hmm. But her physical size and her abilities exceed the women's game. It's like Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Serena Williams could beat the 100 ranked man. Might be able to take the 50th ranked man to a decent run.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Give her a D-League spot. Hell, I would go see a D-League game if Brittany Griner was playing.
Kind of take a page out of like the minor league baseball book as far as like the endorsements.
Yeah, the Cardinals signed a midget way back when.
Yeah,
I
remember even in the Lowell Spinners, they had the first human home run.
Yeah.
They launched a guy out of a cannon from home plate over the
There for
fence.
that.
Yeah.
Were you really? Yeah. That's awesome.
It's
hey, I mean,
exactly.
you
It's
gotta
publicity.
give-
It's just that's what it really comes down
That's
to.
true. I mean, if you're Brittany Griner, would you go to the NBA? I feel like you might be shortchanging yourself a little bit.
I would go to the NBA if they sign Allen Iverson too. Get
That would be
Allen
awesome.
Iverson and Brittany Griner in the same work. I'll be like, all right, guys, go at it.
Yeah.
See who's
Make it
better.
happen.
Yeah, Allen Iverson at 40 versus Brittany Griner just coming up.
That
I mean, she's
I'd pay to watch
she's
that.
close to the same size as like a Hasheem Thabit. I think Thabit's got more taller. I think he's a 6'11", but he's skinnier.
Yeah.
She
Hasheem
took
Thabit is
a
beanpole.
beating in that Louisville game. Oh, actually, wanted to get to this too. RG3 tweeted some real defense for Brittany Griner because Louisville upset number 1 Baylor. Baylor had won 74 out of 75 contests. They were easily supposed to win, or not win, because Notre Dame is another women's basketball team that's got a lot riding on them this year. Skylar Diggins and that crew. But Brittany Griner, they were supposed to go to the finals. And Louisville upset them in the Sweet 16, 1 versus 5. Brittany Griner got her butt kicked.
Yeah.
Like, she was getting punched in the stomach, and Robert Griffin tweeted, expletive, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 and then had to defend his tweet by saying, I don't care what you guys all say, I'm going to defend my friend. What did you guys think about that?
didn't see it, but that sounds
Pretend,
very-
Justin, pretend. It's TV, all right? This is pretend land.
Well, as far as that goes, I just felt like there's kind of.
They both went to Baylor, remember that.
Yeah, they did. They both went to Baylor.
But do you think a professional athlete should be taking sides like that?
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Obviously
Loyalty.
the Twitter
Loyalty
world.
is
fan
huge.
You're already out of
loyalty.
this. You
No,
say you didn't see it. You're done.
off.
My problem with it is defending the game. It's like that's how she plays. Like I said earlier, she punched a girl in the face in the middle of a game. She is the one that's harassing everybody, boxing everybody out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she is the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the problem? She can't take a little bit? Like
Get
she's going to
even.
play in the NBA and she's, you know what I mean? She's going to have people trying to defend
That's
her
a
for that.
very good point. She gets a little
She
bit
shouldn't
roughed
have
up.
to have people defend her for that stuff because it's not warranted. There's nothing to defend.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, I love to see it, honestly. You very rarely see professional athletes go outside and just be like, look, I said what I said. I back up what I said. It's a friend of mine. We played together. Like, shut up, Twitter
Yeah.
world, essentially. And
More
I was
or
like,
less.
good for you, RG3.
More or less, yep.
All right, let's move on. Celtics Celtics playoff spot.
Yeah.
Jeff Green scores 34. He has been on a tear in the last 6 games. With the game-winning layup, he almost, what he had, 46 in one game, 34 last night.
Talking about the one against the Cavs?
Yes, the game-winning layup, yes.
Last
But he
week.
had almost a 50-point game against the Heat. Yeah, it was against the Heat when they went up when they barely lost to try to snap the streak at 23, I think. So yeah, what are your thoughts of the C's?
You know, I actually have tickets to the game Sunday against the Wizards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid
Got
team to play against.
Good seats. Yeah, John Wall. Hey, I wanted to see a win, bro.
Well, actually, no, and not
KG's
only
gonna
that.
be back, hopefully.
I hope
Not only, I mean, Bradley Beal, actually, the first-round pick this year
Yeah.
for the Wizards, actually, he's out for the season, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But as far as the Celtics go, it's more related to Jeff Green. You said, like, the last 6-7 games he's been playing really well. Well, what's really strange to me is that that's coincided with the fact that Kevin Garnett has been out. Like, why is this guy choosing to play more or less, when at the NBA, the style that the Celtics play, if you're streaky, it's usually or if the team is streaking, like, it's usually as a result of poor defense, something that Doc preaches every single practice. You know, solid defense. Their team is predicated on defense, Kevin Garnett being the center of that. Now, does Jeff Green have an issue with Kevin Garnett being the center of the defense, and is it causing him to not, play as hard? You know what I mean? Because he's not in the spotlight. You know, like everything that Jeff Green is doing is great, and I love it. And it's a lot of about the NBA. A lot of big thing about the NBA playoffs, the NBA in general, is who's the hot team at the right time.
Absolutely.
I've read and seen different places. Most people still have them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
To go up against the Celtics in a 7-game series is one of the most challenging things to do in the NBA. There's no, ask the Heat. They're the smartest. They're veteran. They do not shy away from contact. They're going to rough you up down low.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make you play a half-court slow game of basketball. Ask the Heat last year. It's almost impossible to beat that team in a 7-game series.
Ask King James himself. He even said earlier this year, he said, he wouldn't come down to low and say that the Patriots, the Celtics are smarter than them, but he at least acknowledged that they're as smart as the Heat.
No question about it.
And that
Doc
speaks
Rivers,
volumes
your coach,
coming from a guy like LeBron.
I mean, to your point about why Jeff Green's playing well, I think there's a couple reasons, at least that I've seen. Especially one is the way that he's actually gotten playing time, because he was becoming, he was only like a 13-minute player up until probably about a month ago, and now he's playing some bigger minutes. He's incredibly athletic, and he has some of the greatest gifts that you can see on a basketball court. He can play big, he can play small. I think the style of offense that the Celtics play kind of didn't really or hasn't really fit his game yet, because Paul Pierce is kind of he's a 3 or a 4. He's a swing man.
Yeah.
So Paul's kind of our swing man, but he's when Paul gets the ball, it's dribble, maybe a pass. He's not swinging on a fast break.
No.
Jeff needs to be running.
Yep.
And you got KG in the middle. Can't really be running that much anymore. So I feel like that might be one reason. I'm not a basketball expert. I know that some of my friends are going to rip on me for what I just said there, for probably being terribly wrong. But that's at least what I've seen from him. It's awesome to see him playing well, because especially with the heart surgery last year, and then we lost Perk when he was traded for Perk, who was a huge member of Boston sports. So I think it's been really nice to see a little bit of a resurgence from Jeff Green, and just to showcase, man, his talent is out of this world.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
I don't think it's the fact that the game style doesn't fit him. I just think he's finally getting the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a big,
when he's on the court, he's at most third, maybe fourth option if he's out there with KG and Rondo and Pierce and even Jason Terry.
You're going to the Jet. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Gotta love the Jet.
So
Love the
he's
Jet.
never had that opportunity. He's been the fourth option on offense. Now he's finally stepped up.
Yep. And he has
And he's
stepped up,
stepped up
and
big.
he really has. He's picked up the slack.
I wanted his jersey at the beginning of the year. Couldn't find it anywhere.
Now you'll be able to find it.
I just hope he can continue it, and
I do too.
when KG comes back.
I do too.
I
do too. I like the guy a lot. I really wish him.
Yeah,
the
you can't
best.
really. Yeah, you can't. He had kind of a rough early first half of the season. Kind of not so much rough, more than inconsistent.
Right, exactly,
Not being able to
exactly.
consistently
And
put
he
the
hadn't
ball
up
in the
until
bucket.
this last week in Boston. He hadn't really played that consistent.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna move on to another Boston sports topic that I just actually thought about, because this is an awesome one. I'm excited about this. Jaromir Jagr just got signed with the Bruins. You gotta love the flow. Jagr had the greatest mullet that we've seen. Him and Mario Lemieux on those old school Penguins teams. But what do you think about them signing Jagr? Quick
Whoop-de-doo.
thoughts. What?
Whoop-de-doo. Dude,
You're not a hockey
they
fan.
want it. Yeah, I don't know all that much about hockey, but I know Iginla. They didn't get Iginla by some.
That was Iginla. Iginla was the one that said he did not want to go to Boston.
Yeah. So they thought they had him, they lost him, and then they're just like, all right, who else is old in the NHL that could put some fans in the seat? Jaromir Jagr.
Jagr's
That
got
guy still
14
plays.
He's got 14 goals this season with the Stars.
Yeah.
I've always put Jagr and Lemieux kind of in the same category.
Absolutely.
If they're not on your team, you can't stand to look at them. For the exact reason that you just said, the stupid haircut.
Dude, the
can't
mullet is
handle it.
priceless.
But given the fact that Jagr is probably going to go down as like one of the greatest Czech players to ever live,
if not the greatest.
if not exactly,
Yeah.
if not the greatest, he does bring another added level of the offenses. Even during that cup run, the only reason that they made it as far as they did is just like it's painful to watch sometimes.
Oh my God, is it painful to watch? It's been painful to watch. The last couple of games, the Bruins have played so lackluster that it's painful to watch. I think it's a great addition. I think they needed another piece. Honestly, I think they needed another scoring forward because he'll probably go down onto the third line.
Well,
They just lost Bergie.
Patrice Bergeron
Just went down with a
the other night
concussion.
Went down with a concussion.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. Got
it's
the win in
probably
Ottawa.
his third or his fourth, I believe. Actually.
Fourth.
not
Mild. They have no timetable,
Yeah.
is what the Bruins came out today saying as a press release.
Yeah.
But that's huge, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe he will jump up to a second. He's got 14 goals this year. He played really well last year too, as like a really old player. Voice of God coming in. Thanks, Lo. Thank you. Wow, that was just aggressive. That gave me like a little bit of a heart attack.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, I think that means 5 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. Peace. Deuces. All right, the last 2 minutes. What do we want to talk about?
Opening day.
Yeah, opening
Opening
day.
day,
It's
Red
Red Sox.
Sox. Red
Yeah,
Sox.
Jackie
Red
Bradley
Sox.
Jr.
Red
What do you guys want to say? Go.
Can't wait. $5 beers. Jackie Bradley Jr. was a mistake.
No, he's not.
No, they
He scored 3 runs already.
way.
Okay. But if they just kept him down in Pawtucket for like the first couple weeks, they had 2 extra years on his
How about this,
contract.
guys?
He has Scott Boras as an agent. You know that scumbag?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, chirp.
You know what is great about this whole thing is Red Sox fans are finally talking about what's going on the field.
Yes.
We're not talking about Bobby Valentine. We're not talking about Josh Beckett going golfing after, pulling his back muscle or whatever it was. We're talking about baseball. John Farrell has made it, so we're talking about baseball. We're excited about it. The Red Sox have scored 16 runs the past 2 games. I think they had 2 extra base hits in the first game.
Yep.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is 0-2, lefty against CC Sabathia. He's down 0-2 in his first major league
at bat and grinds it out
and
for
he
a walk.
grinds it out for a walk. Like, I love baseball. Somebody that wants to sit down and watch home runs fly out of the ballpark. This game is not for you.
No, this is small ball.
This is small ball.
Welcome back
This
to
is
small ball.
real
Johnny Gomes
baseball.
coming running with Ellsbury going up the first base line. He's rounds third base and goes slides in.
I was so jacked up about that base because I was talking to him. I'm like, I love base running.
Yep.
I love heads up base running, and that's exactly what that was. He was on second base, and he ended up rounding third, headed home on a heads up play. He made Robinson Cano make a perfect throw. He challenged
I don't
him.
even know. Is that like a buzzer? All right, I guess we're just supposed to. All right, that's it for this week's edition of Around the Valley. I love these two. This was awesome. Justin, thank you.
No
Ricky,
problem.
thank you.
Anytime. This was
And
a blast.
yeah, right, it's fun.
It's a lot
Go
of fun.
Sox.
So
Yeah, go Sox.
Go Qs. Thank you, Will. Adios.
Let's hope some cool stuff happens in sports. Thanks for the buzzer back there. Bye.